All right, joining us now for a first on Fox Business interview is Senator Richard Shelby, Republican from Alabama. Senator, let me ask you to react to that soundbite that you just heard. I mean, that was the CFTC commissioner basically saying if people are going to lie to us, there's no way for us to catch them.
Well, you can catch them, but you should see trends there. I believe the regulators are going to have to be more involved everywhere. The CFTC has had a number of failures as regulators. They realize this. This is another one. They've got to get involved. They've got to get deep, and they've got to be suspicious of things at times. Perhaps they've been too lax with certain groups and maybe too close to certain people.
But I would say in their defense, I mean, we went through the records and there is a laundry list of complaints, fines, and investigations into this firm over time. They were in there. They still missed it. You know, on the heels of MF Global just 9 months prior, maybe the business model is broken.
If there were a series of fines, possible fraud, and all these things going on, somebody should put these people out of business. You know, why should you continue let people do business that are problems from the beginning, problems in the future that you're suspicious of, and at the end of the day, they come up with something big and say, well, gosh, what happened? You have ideas of what's going to happen by what people are doing day to day.
So maybe that's a long line, you know, in a list of mounting failures from the regulators. What would you like to see them do? I mean, do we need to see someone other than Bart Chilton running the CFTC? Do we need to see... Go ahead.
I didn't think he was a chairman. He's a commissioner. The chairman is Gensler, and he's had his problems with MF Global, as you well know. He recused himself from that. That's been a big failure. It's not been resolved yet. I mentioned that he was close to John Corzine. Sometimes the regulators are too close to people that they're regulating. They've got to be more diligent. They got to do a better job. I think they can do better. They better do better.
Do you think either or both of those gentlemen need to go?
Well, I think Gensler is the chairman, and he's had problems before. That's where I would focus in on the chairman.
Okay. Let's turn to the Libor scandal now. You have so much on your plate right now. I know you're going to see Timothy Geithner is going to come and testify before the committee. What are the questions? What would you like to hear from him about this particular scandal? And do you think that the New York Fed, you know, was asleep at the switch?
Well, we don't know yet who did what, but that's what we need to do. We need to do it sequentially. We need to know what the role the Fed played in this. If there was a conspiracy of some kind to lower the Libor rates to benefit certain banks at that time, did the regulator, like the Federal Reserve president of a bank in New York was Geithner at that time, did he know this? What did he know? I hope he will come prepared to answer a lot of questions, because the manipulation of Libor affects just about everybody in the world, including most consumers in the United States.
Senator Lori here. We've been covering so many congressional hearings on scandals, on gigantic losses, J.P. Morgan, so many hearings back and forth on Dodd-Frank as well, yet these issues keep coming up. What is it going to take to make a meaningful difference so that consumers from Wall Street to Main Street just have confidence in our financial system?
Well, that's an excellent question, and the timing couldn't be better. A lot of banking historically has been built on trust, integrity, and a lot of that is missing today. You know, the Libor scandal, the CFTC problems that's just come to other banks' things. We've got to get back to having management with integrity and not scandals day after day dripping out. We also got to have regulators that are on top of things, not coming in at the end and say, gosh, we should have done this or we should have done this. They've got to be proactive. But I think there's no substitute for integrity.
Is it more difficult to find this integrity? Here's where I'm going with this. My line of thinking is, gosh, we're in a fiscal crisis, from the federal government to the state government to the municipalities. So is it tougher now to accept these things or to look forward to them and being optimistic that these improvements will happen and our confidence will return than it would have been, I don't know, even as recently as a year or two ago?
Well, the average person in America and perhaps in the world, they see all these scandals, they see all these deals made and conflicts of interest, and they wonder what's really happening in the banking system all over the world. I think we've got to go with integrity. You've got to build it. It's hard to build, and it's easy to lose. That's part of the problem facing the whole banking system today.
All right, Senator Richard Shelby, thanks for coming on today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, another